I'm gonna present mine to my boss when he gets back.
Okay, good. That's great.
I guess, a designated broker is the title.
Yes. Okay, that's awesome. So you're going to do both your buyer and the listing presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Way to go. All right. Well, hopefully the rest of you are as well. So before I jump in today about the written marketing plan for your home, I want to give you a little tip. So this is something that I used to always tell agents when I was coaching them. You need to have an annual marketing plan. Now, I'm not just talking about marketing your listing. I'm talking about a marketing plan. So you need to sit down in December and have some kind of an idea of what you're going to do in the next year. So something that I always had them do was I would have them sit down and write out January through December, write out the month names, and then go ahead and make some kind of a plan. Put it in pencil because we know things change. But what am I going to do next year for my marketing? So maybe in January you're going to send a letter or a postcard that says Happy New Year and says something to your sphere. Maybe February you're going to send a Valentine's Day postcard. Maybe in March or April you're going to send little packets of seeds for flowers. I like to do the forget me nots because what you do when you get a little packet of seeds and the forget me nots, you can put a little hole in it, tie a string, put your business card on, and then on the back of it, write, I hope you don't forget me when it comes time to buy or sell, and hand out those. July, you could pass out flags. But whatever your plan is, sit down in December and have some kind of a plan. When am I going to put videos on my social media? What are the holidays I want to make sure I do a social media post for? The better organized and plans that you make, the better you're going to be at your marketing. Because remember, we know people don't remember who we are. We have to constantly stay in touch with them. What you don't want to happen is it's January 1 and oh my gosh, it's January 1. What am I going to send out in January? I haven't even planned for it. I don't know. What am I going to do in February? If you have an annual marketing plan, and again, it can change, but if you have some kind of a blueprint of what you're going to do with your marketing, it keeps you better organized. The other thing you can do is you can order postcards ahead of time. So maybe you have a closing and you're like, oh, I'm going to order 3 months worth of postcards right now. Well, I've got money from this closing, right? So you're always planning ahead. Pop buys, maybe like the flags, that would be a pop buy. Maybe you're going to do pumpkin pies or pumpkins in October or November, whatever that looks like. Take some time and have a plan because here's what's going to happen. You guys are, some of you are new, some of you aren't, but you're going to get, right now, you've got time to do this. You're going to get really busy in your real estate career. What's going to happen is you're going to be so busy working with your buyers and your sellers, you're going to be running around like your chicken with its head cut off, and you're not going to have a plan for what you're doing for marketing. And then the month is going to slip up, and you're like, I've done nothing and prepared nothing for this month. So remember, just hear me out. If you don't take the time right now, this December, I hope at some point next year, you hear me in your head and you think, oh, Shauna told me to have a plan. That will keep you on target. Okay. The better organized you are in this career and in real estate, the better you're going to be. The more you're going to keep up with people. You're not going to miss things. So that's something we're going to talk about today with your listing. If you have a plan and you have a written plan, things don't fall through the cracks. Okay. So that's just a little extra thing I threw in there that's not in this class. I just wanted to give you that little bit of information. So marketing your listing. So now you got your listing contract signed. It's equally important to have a written marketing plan. Why? Because it keeps you on track. Again, there's times you're going to be so busy, you're going to wonder, did I do this on that listing? Did I post it on social media? Did I send out a postcard? Did I do all of the things? If you have a written marketing plan ahead of time, that's going to ensure that every one of your sellers get the same service. You're doing the same exact thing every time. Now, when I worked as both an agent and as a transaction coordinator for my brother, I had a checklist and I had the checklist went with every file, and I wouldn't do the same thing on every listing. Some of them you don't, some of them were out in the county and I didn't do a broker's open on, or some of them were a little bit less money and I didn't do professional pictures. I took my own, right? But I had a checklist that said pictures, Post on social media, flyer. Did I walk the neighborhood? Did I call the neighborhood? Did I tell my sphere? All of the things you need to do. Your checklist is going to be the same every time. Just because you don't do the same thing on every listing, you mark it out, right? It also gives the seller the assurance of your efforts. So they know the plan, they know your blueprint for what you're going to be doing to market their home. So they don't wonder if things are going to be done. They know they are. It helps you not overlook things. It's very, very critical. It creates a system so you can complete tasks and communicate the results. It allows others to complete your tasks. Do you ever plan on going on vacation after you get listings? Or what if you get sick? If you have a written marketing plan in your file, it will make it easier for one of your colleagues to step in and help while you're away or while you're sick. And they can look in your file and they know this is what needs to be done. This is what they've done. So that allows for you to have help. Otherwise, you're going to be like your own man on an island trying to do everything, and nobody can come in and service your file because nobody knows what's going on with your file. Even your manager or your broker can't help you because they don't know what's going on with it. If you have a written plan, then they do. So, what should your marketing plan contain? Number one, you've got to set the expectations with your sellers during your presentation. They need to know what you are and what you are not going to do. So there's no questions. Okay. It aligns your strategy with them. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm going to have 4 open houses. These are the dates I'm suggesting. Do they work with you? I'm going to have a brokers open and invite everybody from the community to come in, all the brokers to come in and take a look at your house. What are you going to do? I'm going to do professional pictures. I'm going to put a flyer box out there by your sign. I'm going to put a sign out. They need to know. So what are you going to do? Pictures? You're going to schedule pictures. Are you going to do brochures or flyers? Are you going to have a floor plan or a 3D drawing done of the house? Are you going to do a video? You should. You should. Everybody's into video nowadays, guys. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but everybody's watching video. Video is where it's at. You've got to get in the habit of doing videos. What else? Are you going to do a sign? Are you going to do postcards to the neighborhood? Are you going to do postcards to your sphere? Your open houses. Are you going to do a twilight tour? Some houses look amazing at night, all lit up. So maybe you want to do a twilight. Maybe that really showcases the house. Are you going to do a virtual open house? I know I'm missing some stuff here. Facebook Lives. Those are huge. I would start doing videos when I go put the signs out. I would do videos when I'm going to hold an open house. I would post that video. I'm going to show you. Actually, Christy on the call did an amazing open house video recently. I'm going to show that to you today. Another thing is when you're out putting your open house signs up, do Facebook Lives. Let people see you. When you get to the open house, get there early. Go live on Facebook and showcase the home before the open house. Tell people to come by and see what's going on. But as you can tell, there's a lot of things that go into marketing a home. And if you don't have a checklist to keep you on target or some kind of a list, things are going to fall through the cracks. And guess what? When things fall through the cracks, who gets upset? Our sellers. And then they're not going to refer people to you, or they're going to say, we hired them and we hired Tiffany and she sold us on our marketing plan. Then she didn't do half the stuff she told us and things fell through the cracks. They're going to tell people that, unfortunately. The bad spreads faster than the good. So if you're on top of it and you're organized, there's never going to be any questions. So customize your checklist and have it for every listing that you do. All right. So that's why we are highly suggesting that you do a marketing plan on your listing. Communication and feedback. We've talked about this. You always want to keep in touch with your sellers. So when you're at your listing appointment, before when you get your listing agreement signed, ask the seller, say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I call or text or email, whatever it may be, my clients every single week, even if I have to call and say, I don't have a lot to tell you this week. There's not been any activity. What day and time works well for you for me to communicate to you? Do you prefer I call you? Do you prefer I email you? Do you prefer I text you? How would you like to know? The same with feedback from showings. How would you like to know the feedback from your showings? Okay, so ask the sellers. The other thing is, guys, unfortunately, there's a lot of people, a lot of agents out there that do have buyers and do showings, and they don't think you need feedback. Number one, don't ever get in that habit. If you show somebody's house, give feedback. It's just the right thing to do. And you also want to get feedback from them. So, are you going to have to chase some agents down for feedback? Yes. Yes, you will. But you owe that to your sellers to do that, to do your due diligence to get that feedback. But again, always be the agent that gives feedback, whatever it is, when you're working with buyers and you're going out and showing signs. Maybe that'll help you get it reciprocated a little bit. I can't promise that because some agents are lazy. But if you're doing it, the people will see that and hopefully you will get that feedback. But you've got to communicate with your sellers at all times. Okay. Even if that's, I'm going to call every Friday, and I dread picking up that phone today. I'm getting ready to call my sellers, and there's not been any showings. We didn't have any traffic at our open house. We've had no inquiries. You hate those calls, but they deserve that. And those calls might help you if you need to do a price improvement. Maybe it's priced too high. So those are the kind of communication, the kind of talks that you can have with your sellers, but you want to always do that. Okay. So let's talk about where buyers found the home they purchased. I bet you can't guess number one, the internet. Everybody is everybody's looking on the internet these days. So what does that mean for you? You need to make sure your pictures are amazing. When you put your listing into your MLS, however many pictures your MLS allows, that's how many pictures you want in there. Always organize your pictures. Make sure they look good. First impressions, you got to remember that. First impressions, they're going to go on realtor.com or homes.com or Zillow, wherever they're going to look, or your website. You want to make sure that your pictures look amazing. You want to make sure that you've got on your website, you've got landing pages for your listings to draw attention to it. So it's out there. You're sharing on social media, post videos on TikTok, do reels on Instagram. Wherever you can get stuff out there, you need to be on the internet because 52% of all buyers found their home on the internet. That's a pretty high percentage. And look, 50% of those were from 25 to 33 age range. Okay. So you've got to make sure that you're out there on the internet and your stuff looks good. We have flyers. We've got all kinds of amazing stuff in my marketing studio to make you look completely professional. So social media marketing. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because we just did, but multiple professional photos are key. Now, I'm not saying that you can't take the pictures. Now with iPhones what they are, and a lot of people have cameras, if you do a good job and your sellers are happy with your pictures, then I have no problem with you doing it. But if they don't look professional, hire a professional photographer. Okay? Again, you have one chance to make that first impression. When you're posting on social media, avoid real estate jargon and abbreviations. People don't know what our abbreviations are, and we have a million of them. So don't expect the general public to know that. So just leave those out of there. But you build your My Weichert CRM, right? You build your CRM with your people in your sphere, and you've always got people to be sending things to. You can always post to social media. You can boost your listings right from My Weichert. So you've got the Cadillac of CRMs at your fingertips to help you with your social media marketing. For sell signs, this is the number one source of local marketing, right? Why our signs are yellow. They stand out. I don't know if you guys know this, but when Jim Weichert was starting Weichert years ago, he put 3 different colored signs on the back fence of his office, and he had people come and give their opinion on what color they saw first. That's how he chose yellow. Everybody chose the yellow sign. It stands out. You want to paint the town yellow. People are going to see your signs, but make sure they're clean. Make sure they're in good condition. Make sure they're visible from the road. Make sure your signposts and your stakes don't look like they need to be put in the trash. And don't have a million riders. So you can have your name rider, or maybe you can have your name rider, and if it has a pool, you want to have a rider that says pool on there, or whatever the case may be. You can have a couple, but don't have riders hanging from the yellow Weichert sign all the way to the ground. It's too distracting. Make a good impression. You want the neighbors. I mean, guy, this is so funny. A house down the street from me was listed recently, and I was out. I ride my bike every morning. I was out riding my bike, and we had some wind come through here, and that sign was half laid over. The rider was on the ground. It was not a Weichert office because I would have called him if it was. The sign was half over. The rider was in the yard, and for 1 week, that sign looked like that. And I almost called the agent and said, "Look, girl, I'm your sign looks awful in my neighborhood. You might want to come take a look at it. Don't let that be you." When you guys have weather come through, check all of your signs. Go around town, make sure they're not shredded to pieces. Make sure you still have a sign up. People steal our signs, unfortunately. I think, I don't know if it's kids or what, but our signs get stolen. So you want to always make sure that your sign looks presentable. That's important, guys. That's your billboard. That is your major billboard in that yard. So make sure it always looks nice. Your flyers, your brochures, your direct mails. Again, we've got stuff in my marketing studio to make you look amazing and professional. Utilize the tools you have. When you're going to send out a postcard or a flyer, give me 1 second, Tim, then I'll get to you. When you're going to send out a postcard and a flyer, make sure that you look through it. Make sure your pictures are clear. Make sure there's no words misspelled. Make sure it looks good and it doesn't look like your kindergartner did it. Okay. So make sure you're always looking professional when you do your flyers and your brochures and your direct mails. Yes, Tim.
Who do you hire out to sync your signs, like dig the holes and things?
That's different for every company. You'll have to check with your manager, your broker, and see who does that. That's why
Oh,
I always carried a mallet in my car for that reason, because a lot of times we had to do our own signs and in my company. So I had to do it myself. But I don't know who does it in your company. You'll have to ask your broker.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So lead link. So lead link is a service that we have where when you do a new listing or something closes, you're going to get an email from lead link asking you if you want to do a just listed or a just sold postcard. It automatically generates it for you. Okay. So you'll get an email. All you do is click on the link and it sends it out to the surrounding area. If it's your sell, if you had the buyer, go take a new picture and put in there before you send these out. So it's your picture and you know it looks nice. You don't want a bad picture going out on your postcard. But the cost is minimal and the work is done for you. So you don't even have to think about it. My Weichert, you guys at this point, there's all kinds of ways that this can promote your listings, which is what we're going to talk about right now. You can start smart campaigns that are on autopilot that go out for you. You can send out mass emails and text about your new listing. Here's the really amazing thing about my Weichert. It has built-in AI. So if you send text or emails and somebody unsubscribes, the system won't send them anything again. So it's covering you for compliance purposes. Because if somebody opts out, you don't want to keep sending them stuff because you could get in trouble for that. So you can also send out market stats. You can identify buyers that are uploaded into your system that may fit this particular listing. This is why my Weichert is amazing if you use the system. Okay. But if you don't have any buyers loaded in there, you're not going to be able to find any buyers in there to match your listing, right? The system is only as good as what you put in there. So there's all kinds of things. Like I said, you can match buyers, you can do automated marketing campaigns. Now we're going to talk about promote a listing through Playbook. This is in my Weichert. Okay. I'm not going to go live because it messes things up. So I'm just going to show you the screens of what they look like and what the playbook looks like. So what is a playbook? My Weichert playbook is basically a to-do list of best practices when you want to promote your listing. So you can announce your listing to your whole office. There's a way for you to send an email to every agent in your company that says, "Hey, I've got this new listing at 123 Main Street. Here's the price. It's amazing. Please check it out when you have time." It also allows you to follow up and communicate because, again, you can do those campaigns. You can do landing pages and squeeze pages where people have to ask for more information. Guess what? My Weichert takes their information for you so you can follow up with them. What if it's a potential buyer that it isn't represented by an agent? and they go to your website and they click more information, their information goes right into your CRM. That's a potential buyer right there. There's no better way to follow up. Hey, I saw that you wanted more information on my listing at 123 Main Street. You can leverage social media that way. You can boost your new listing right from My Weichert. So you don't even have to go through Facebook to do it. So why do we do this? It's more efficient, number one. It's at your fingertips. It keeps you organized. You always know what you've done on your listing. And it's a great way to promote your listing. Okay. Again, the squeeze pages and the landing pages. If you've not gone on to Weichert University and watched any of the My Weichert Jumpstart videos, you need to, I've told you that before, you need to watch those. Okay. Squeeze pages and landing pages. You can make a landing page for your listing that looks like it has its own website. And then you can promote it on several ways. You can send it out. You can post it on social media. You can revisit your playbook. You can edit them. You can repeat it if you want to keep it going. So this is where it's at. So in My Weichert, on your dashboard, there is right there in the middle of the screen, it says playbook. Okay. And then it says promote a new listing. So this is how you're going to get started. When you get a listing, this is how you're going to get started with the playbook. So My Weichert, playbook, and then promote a listing. Okay. You'll get this, but if you want to take a picture of this, you're welcome to take a picture of this screen real quick. So what can I do in there? Again, I can promote it. I can promote my listing to the office team. I can see if I have any buyers in my database that match this listing. Because guys, there's going to come a time when you're working with so many people, you're not going to remember every buyer and exactly what they're looking for. So find them in the system. Maybe you showed them houses a year ago and they've just kind of died down. They're still in your system, but you're not going to remember what they wanted. But if you've put the criteria in there, My Weichert's going to be able to match them. Again, you can boost. You can schedule seller reports. Those look amazing. And they're a click of a button. They're so easy. You can do smart campaigns. And again, you can do squeeze pages and landing pages. Okay. There are all kinds of Weichert Wednesday webinars out there. Do you guys know that on Wednesday, every Wednesday at 2 o'clock, we have a Weichert Wednesday Weichert webinar? It's a tongue twister. And Anthony Ritaco teaches those, and there's no bad subject. And Anthony is amazing at these classes. You guys, once you get through this, I know right now on Wednesdays you're in here, but once we get through Fasttrack, I would put that on my calendar weekly. Every Wednesday at 2, I want to watch those Weichert Wednesday webinars. They're always really good. Okay. So this is what it looks like. So if I go in there and I've got these 2 listings right here, I've got Somerset Road in Mount Vernon, Kentucky, and I've got Highway 89. These are my 2 listings. So what I'm going to do is just click that green button right there that says start promoting. Your listings will automatically pop up in here for you. Okay. Here's how I notify the agents in my office. I'm going to send an email. If your company has more than one office, you pull that menu down, you can select them all. And then it's a new listing announcement. So you just change it to make it, you put the address and everything you want to put in here, and then you hit send email. That's it. You can also attach a video if you want to of the property. So this is a great way. And the other thing, I think most companies probably announce new listings at their sales meetings on Tuesday, but this is a way for you to get something out into their email. So I would always be in the habit of letting everybody in my office know when I have a new listing. Okay. Here is matching buyers. So contact matching buyers is going to find them in the system. And then you can type a little message. Again, you can do a video and you can send it, or you can schedule it. You can send a text message right to buyers, right through the system. Isn't this amazing? Tiffany's like, what? Yeah. You can schedule an email to go out. So you don't have to send it right away. You can schedule it. And look here, a new property just hit the market that matches the search criteria I have in the system for you. I'm including some details below, and they can click through and they can get more information from you. So you can text them or you can email them. But this is a great way, guys. This is at your fingertips. So this isn't you having to go through your, what if you had all your buyers in an Excel spreadsheet? So you have to, can you imagine how complicated this would be? I got to go through my checklist, what buyers, and I got to go to my email. Hopefully I have their email address, and then I got to type up this email and I got to send it out. This is doing it for you. So it couldn't be any easier. There are no excuses for you not to do this unless you're just not using the system. If you're not using the system, you're missing out, because this is to make your life easier. There's also text codes that you can set up in MyWiker, and you can put them on your signs, on a rider. You can put them on your flyers. You can put them on postcards. So they can have a text code that comes right to you if somebody wants more information on your listing. So you can set those up through MyWiker. Here's the property boost for Facebook. This is a great way to get your listing out there. And again, it does it right here, all for you. It's super, super, super easy for you to boost on Facebook. Then landing pages and squeeze pages. So these are what I said, you can put, it can basically be its own website, and you can share that all over the place. You can put a call to action on there where they have to click a button if they want more information. Then you capture their information. You need to get good at landing pages and squeeze pages. So watch those videos that I told you about on Weichert University. There's one on just those topics. Okay. These are something that you can utilize. You can have a bunch of them, and you can have all your listings have their own page. You can send it to your sellers and say, hey, send this to everybody you know. You can put it on social media and tell your sellers, hey, share this on your social media. Right? So it's getting the word out there, and it looks professional. Here is what a landing page looks like. So you see where it has their email, their cell phone, you can make optional, or you can put it in there if you want to get it. And then they have to click that to get more information. And you're capturing their information right there. So you can set up pictures. You can put anything you want to say up there. You could, I mean, instead of just listed, you could say amazing. It looks like this listing has a pond. You could say amazing property with a pond, and you can say, whatever you want to say. You're looking for a waterfront property. You could put that in there instead of just listed. You can customize these to look like whatever you want. But the point is just doing them, because this is an easy way for you to capture information. And then you see up there, you can share it to Facebook, Pinterest, looks like Twitter, X, Instagram. You can share it right there from there. Okay. Here's a squeeze page. So you can see it looks a little bit different. But again, look over there at the side. They have to enter their information. So you ask them for their email and their cell phone number, and maybe they have a question. So they could type a question in there. They can contact you. Right? So these you've got to get in the habit of doing every time. Back in the day, we used to do a lot of property websites. This is a way to get around that, because we paid per site when we did property websites. They weren't free. So every time we would do one, we had to pay for one. This is in your MyWiker. So you're making a property website right here at your fingertips from your system. You can do smart campaigns. Trust me when I tell you, you're going to want to do smart campaigns. Why? They're running in the background without you having to do anything. So when you put your people in there, you want to hashtag them buyer, or hashtag them seller, or hashtag them prospect, or however you want to do it, because then you can do smart campaigns just to that group of people. Okay. So the more information you put in there, the better the system can work for you. But you're going to want to do smart campaigns, because you can't possibly make the amount of touches that you need to be making to stay in front of these people. You want the system to do it for you. And I think I told you guys about getting emails from Kendra Scott after I bought a bracelet. Did I tell you guys that story? So yeah, so anybody, I didn't? Okay. So I did, my point is everybody uses CRMs. Any big business, any business who's worth anything has a CRM. When you go to the grocery store, do you get emails from them? The stores that you shop at, you get emails from them. I bought a bracelet from Kendra Scott in August when I was in Florida. Literally that day, I started getting texts and emails. And so, and I get an email about every day from them. I just delete them until something catches my eye, until the reference line says 25% off. And whether I need a bracelet or not, I'm going to check it out because there's a sale, right? So you have to hit those people at just the right time, and you don't know what the right time is going to be. They don't know when I'm going to be in the market for a bracelet or a new pair of earrings or whatever. So they're hitting me every day. Why are those companies so successful? She couldn't pay people enough money to keep in touch with people that often. So they set CRMs up and they set smart campaigns up. This is why you need to be doing the very same thing. Just catching people at just the right time. Okay. Notify other agents in your area of your new listing. Do a caravan or a tour. Now, when I first got into real estate, I don't know if anybody in the country does this anymore. We literally would have our sales meetings on Tuesday, and then we would hop in vehicles and we would drive to all the new listings, and we would all caravan to them. Then a few years into being an agent, then we did caravan on screen at our sales meetings. So we didn't actually go visit the homes, but we saw them on screen. Any new listing that comes up in your office or in your area, go check it out. That makes you more knowledgeable of what's going on in the marketplace because you've seen all the inventory. You look good. You know what's going on. Brokers opens in my area, they're on Tuesdays. I never missed a Tuesday of brokers opens. I would go to sales meeting, and then I would spend the next 2 to 3 hours going to brokers opens. That does a couple different things. You see the inventory in your marketplace, and you make relationships with those other agents at those other companies. Why is that important? Because when I have a relationship with those agents, and then I have a buyer that goes and looks at one of their listings, and I get into contract with them, if I have a relationship with those other agents, regardless of what company they're with, your deals go a little smoother because they already know you, like you, trust you, right? So they know if you say something, your word is good. You only do that by building relationships. I always attended brokers opens, and I always attended board events. I've only almost been in the business 20 years, and I've got friends still to this day that I never did a deal with, and I've never worked at the same company with them, but we built a friendship over the years, and they're some of my closest friends. And if I were still actively working, those people, if they had clients that they needed to refer out, they would refer people to me because we built the relationships. So those are very, very important. And my friends, I'm going to pick up the phone, or I'm going to send them a text and say, hey, Melissa, I just listed 123 Main Street. If you could take a look at it and make sure you show your buyers, I would greatly appreciate it. It's a great place. Call me if you have any questions. Get the word out about your listing. All right, let's talk about video. I'm sure you all know, if you're not already on TikTok or social media of any kind, you know that video is where it's at. People engage with social media. Videos attract 300% more traffic. And look at this second one. Real estate listings with video receive 403% more inquiries than ads without a video. 85% of buyers and sellers want to work with an agent that uses video, real estate videos for marketing. You need to get good at videos. I don't care what you think you look like or what you think you sound like. I hate my voice on a video. I can't stand it. I cringe. So I have to record it and then not listen to it again because I can't stand it. But people watch videos. And you want to know what else they do? They like the ones where you're in it and they can see the real you, and you're real and you're who you are. Let me give you an example. Back when I was managing, I had an agent that was coaching with me, and she hated video. She kicked and screamed, but I finally got her to do videos. So one day she comes in and she's going to sit down with her friend who's a lender, and they're going to do a little video on the different kind of loan products. It was scripted. They tried to make it cute. They had a nice place in the office. And it did okay. People watched it, but it didn't get the traction she wanted because she was so nervous in the video. You could see it came through. Couple weeks later, she goes out to one of her listings and she does a video literally of her just walking through the yard, putting the sign in the yard, putting stuff in the house. She showcases the house. She kind of stuttered around a little bit about it, but it was her. She has a really funny personality and it showed through on the video. The video had 4 times the views as the one that she set and scripted and tried to make it all pretty. Because that second one showed who she was. People want to see who you are. They're trying to decide if they like you or not, right? And video does that. So be yourself, be authentic. If you're funny, be funny. Don't try to be something you're not. Make it professional. People will watch your videos and you'll start to get some traction on that. So they're very, very important. So here are some videos that you can create. Property listings. A subject matter or how-to videos. There's an agent out in Baltimore who I follow on social media, and he's got this whole little following he started. He has a YouTube channel. He goes around his town and showcases restaurants. He's a foodie. So he'll go through and he'll shoot a video outside of it of him going in. He'll go in, he'll order something, he'll shoot a video of him eating. They're just short little clips. And then he might interview the owner or the manager or something in the video, but he has started this whole following because he's going around town and showcasing the town. And what better way for clients he works with that don't live in his town to kind of get to know the town a little bit better. But find your thing. So area tour videos, which is what I was just talking about. Promote local businesses. If there's a local coffee shop or a local bookstore, start showcasing them and go into them and say, hey, I would love to shoot a little video here. I'm a new real estate agent in town. Here's some of my cards. Would you mind if I showcase your shop and I'll promote it on my social media and give you a shout out and say, here's my cards if anybody asks about real estate? Why would they not want to promote you when you're promoting them? It's a great way to get to know people, to showcase your community, and to promote yourself. Give back opportunities. So if you volunteer, do videos about that. Promote community events. Open house live. I already told you about that. Do a live Facebook or Instagram before you start your open house. Invite people to come. There's a great lady on YouTube. It's for real estate agents. If you want to pull her up, her name's Karen Carr. So she talks about how to get leads and don't cold call again from actually making YouTube videos and out there marketing yourself. Okay. All right. Any questions before I go into open houses about marketing yourself and marketing your listing? No questions? Okay. Let's go on to open houses. Now, I love to talk about Weichert open houses because I'm telling you, nobody does open houses like we do. Nobody. No other company does open houses like Weichert. We have the most effective way to market the listing and do open houses. Because why? We're painting the town yellow. We're making sure people know where we are. We're putting signs or flags or something out to draw attention to people that are out driving around for a Sunday afternoon stroll. So why do we host them? Yes, we host them to sell the house. We host them to satisfy the seller. We host them to prospect for buyers and sellers and to market and promote. But let me tell you something, guys. Open houses are not just for prospecting buyers. Sellers who are interviewing agents will show up at open houses to see how you conduct yourself. You should always have that in the back of your mind. Neighbors that are thinking about putting their house on the market and they are interviewing agents will come by and watch. They'll watch how you handle yourself. You're always on display at an open house. You never know when you might have that right person come in that is going to be your next client. That always needs to be in the back of your mind. So I don't want you to go in on Saturday and Sunday or Thursday night whenever you're doing an open house thinking, oh my God, I have to sit here again. Nobody's going to show up. I hate doing these. Don't even go in with that mindset. I want you to get up and I want you to go in excited. This could be the day that I get my next buyer or seller. This could be the day that I sell this house. There's so much opportunity, but you got to train your mind to think that, because most real estate agents think that open houses don't work. Well, they don't when you're not doing them the right way. You need to get good at doing them the right way. So oh, go ahead, Tim. Yes.
Hi. So, open houses, empty, staged, currently being lived in,
Any
all
of
the
the
above?
above. Yeah.
Okay. So with those, thinking about those, how often do you do food and or beverage? And if you do, is it effective or is it a sloppy mess?
It could be either one. So you need to be careful if you're going to bring in food and drinks. Never bring anything other than water. You have to be cognizant of the fact that people could spill stuff. So you got to be careful with that, with food and drinks.
Do you
Um,
do you have to get the, like, if people are currently living in the house and they split for the day or whatever, and you do an open house, do you have to get their
I would always ask them.
approval?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would always ask them. I would always make sure that they're okay with that. But again, just be really cognizant. I like taking bottles of water, and we've got labels, which I'm going to show you in just a minute. You can put personalized labels on the bottles of water, which look amazing. And when people are out driving around on Saturdays and Sundays, they get thirsty, right? So a bottle of water is great. Um, I did food. I didn't always do food. If I had a really cool house that had a cool kitchen, there were times I would bake cookies right before the open house started because it would smell like it, and then there would be warm cookies they could take with them. But I never would let them take them and walk around the house with them, always just as they were walking out the door.
Nice.
Higher end listings, you might do things a little bit different on there, but find out kind of what people are doing in your area. I always had water. I always took water bottles.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we did 2 internal surveys within Weichert. 74% of open house attendees bought a home within 6 months of attending an open house. That's a huge percentage. And 6 months is not that long. 70% of the attendees had a house to sell. So there is the opportunity to get clients at these open houses, even if it's one person and they're the one person that shows up. There's always reasons to do open houses. Even if nobody shows up, you're going to do your open house like you're going to have 20 people show up, because again, the neighbors are watching what you do. So you're going to do it like you are auditioning for that next big thing, because the sellers do watch you. So getting ready for the weekend. Location's important. If it's out in the county, a half an hour from town, and it's not a great property and no one's going to show up, you got to ask yourself, do I really want to do one? Because even though you do it the Weichert way with all the signs and the balloons, is anybody even going to see it? So location is something to consider. Curb appeal. What's it look like? Does the house look amazing? Which days are you going to hold open? Now, guys, play around with this. If everybody in your town does open houses on Sundays from 2 to 4, then you do them on Saturdays from 1 to 3 or 2 to 5. Even if you do it on Sunday, do it longer than everybody else. Don't do the same times as everybody else. Do yours 1 to 4. So kind of pay attention to what everybody's doing. Hold them in the middle of the week. You might catch people that aren't available on the weekends because their kids are involved in 15 sports, and every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday they're out of town. They don't have time to do open houses, but they could go to one after work one night. I personally love twilight tours. If it's an amazing house, I always did a twilight tour because it looks so cool all lit up. I would do them on Thursday nights. But just play around with the days. You don't have to do what everybody in your town's doing, because then you're going to be just like them. You're trying to stand out and set yourself apart. So play around with when you're holding them open. And then, of course, newer listings, you always want to have a few open houses on your new listings. And even if they get into contract really quick, go ahead and have your open house. Discuss that with your seller. Say, even if we get into contract in 24 hours, I'm still going to hold these open this weekend. You might get backup offers. Might get multiple offers. I want to get the best price for you with the best terms, and that might take doing something like that, right? So just because something goes into contract, don't say I'm not going to hold an open house because it went into contract. You've got to plan ahead to do this right. You can't today's Friday. I can't say, oh, you know what? Oh, I haven't had an open house for the last couple of weeks on my Main Street house. I probably better throw some signs out there and do an open house this weekend. Nope, don't do that. Because there's a whole system. You want to start marketing that days in advance on your social media. You want an opportunity to walk the neighborhood and knock on the doors. Now, don't freak out at me about knocking doors. Open houses is the easiest way for you to knock doors. You want to know why? So we've got these little things that go on the doors. You can just use your business cards. But I knock on the door, say I'm going to go to 10 houses to the right and 10 houses to the left of my listing that I'm holding open. So I knock on the door. They're probably going to come to the door and say, we don't want any. You're like, oh, that's great. I'm not selling anything. I just wanted to let you know, here's my business card. I just want to let you know that I've got the house 3 doors down from you listed, and I'm having an open house this weekend. So there's going to be a lot of traffic in the neighborhood. I just wanted to give you a heads up. And then if you want to stop by, I wanted to give you a personal invitation, or if you know somebody looking for a house in this neighborhood, bring them by. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to give you a personal invitation. Thank you. Have a great day. There's nothing hard about that. And you automatically, they're going to come to the door. I don't want any. You're diffusing them right off the bat. And again, if it's a neighbor that's thinking about selling their house, they're going to pay attention that you did that. So I think open houses is the easiest way for you to knock on doors. But have a plan. Am I going to do 5 houses on each side and 5 houses across the street? What am I going to do? But if you're not scheduling these ahead of time, you don't have time to come up with a plan. And then you're flying by the seat of your pants and you're not doing an open house the way Weichert does an open house. Okay. So you've got to, we are different. Weichert's different. The way we do things are different. You need to be different. So we have an open house game plan. So this is in Weichert University. I'll show you where all this is at in a minute. But there's a checklist and there's a game plan. So what do I need to be doing 7 days before? Well, 7 days before, I need to be scheduling the time with my sellers. What do I need to do 6 days before? What do I need to do 4 days before? This game plan helps you stay organized and look professional. Okay. What do I need to do the day of? What do I need to do at the end of the open house? These game plans are huge to keep you on track. And you don't forget anything because we've got it right here in writing for you. So here's some examples of things you can do to get ready. This is the door, little thing that goes on the door that I was telling you about here. You're invited to an open house. If I'm walking around the neighborhood knocking doors and they don't answer the door, you can leave this hanging on their door handle. So this is why I was saying you have some of these, and they're not customized to a certain property, so you can use them for you order these and use them for anything. Okay. Now, how does Weichert do open houses? We do 8 directional signs. 8. So if I've got a house in the middle of a subdivision that you could get to from 2 different streets coming in off the main street, there is going to be no question from any intersection or corner that there's an open house going on down the street. You are going to have a directional sign leading them in at every turn. You're in the middle of a subdivision. How do I get to it? Now I know everybody has GPSs on their phones, but how fun is it for them to follow the signs? Right? So do 8 directional signs. Call the neighbors. We do 2 Weichert balloons. Some areas can't do balloons, so some offices are doing flags or these little twirly things. Put 2 of those on the sign that's in your yard. Nobody can miss that. If I pull up and see balloons or see flags, no one can miss that, right? So 8 directional signs, 2 balloons or flags. Knock the door, the neighborhood. Send out postcards to your sphere. Post it all over your social media. This is all things that you can do to get ready. Okay. This is an example of something I jumped into my marketing studio and made up. So this is a social media post that you can personalize and post. It looks professional. You put on there what you want it to say and you can post it. So I just literally went into my marketing studio and did this. Super, super easy. You can pick the background picture. You can make it look however you want. Here's a story. So a Facebook or Instagram story that you can customize as well to get out there on your social media. Okay. Here is an open house calling dialogue. And again, this you're going to get. This is in my Weichert, or I'm sorry, in Weichert University under the open house tab. We have scripts for you guys, so you don't even have to think about what am I going to say. Call the neighborhood, knock the neighborhood, call your sphere. These are the things you can say, and this helps you extend the conversation to get people talking to you. So how do I prepare? First of all, you want to make sure that the home and the yard looks good. Is the grass cut? Is the sidewalk shoveled off if there's snow out there? Remove any hazards. Make sure that you tell your sellers to take any trash or recyclables out. Don't let the house smell like nasty trash when you go in there. Tell them to put medicine and valuables away, completely out of sight. You don't want people snooping around, so make sure that's all put away. Again, contact your neighbors, ask for permission to put directional signs out. We talked about this the other night or the other day in class. Don't just put signs in people's yard. Ask for permission before you do so. Okay. Make sure you obey the sign ordinances in your community. Some of them have them. Some houses, if they're in the city limits, they're not allowed to put signs up till Saturday at a certain time, and they have to be down within 24 hours. Make sure you talk to your broker and you know what the sign ordinances are in your town. Most city limits have some kind of a sign ordinance. County's a little bit more lenient on that. So here's why we do the 8 signs. 1 to 4 signs brings in about 5.3 prospects into your open house. 5 to 7 signs brings in 15.7, but look at 8. 8 plus signs brings in 27.3 prospects into your open house. People might be out driving around and didn't even realize they wanted to go to an open house, but boy, we see all these yellow signs. Where are they headed to? And they're going to follow the signs, right? And they're yellow, like we said. You've got to prepare the sellers for the open house. So you want to confirm the hours. Provide them with a staging checklist ahead of time to make sure it's in show-ready condition. Make sure all children and pets are off the premises for the open house. You might think that's funny that you say children, but I think I told you the story about walking in on some children in a bedroom at one point. Kids think, oh, mom and dad's gone. If they're driving age, they think, oh, they're out of the house. I can sneak back in. Make sure kids and dogs are off the premises. You don't want a dog barking or scaring somebody. So make sure they're away from people and set expectations for the open house feedback. So say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm going to be doing this open house from 1 to 5 on Sunday. As soon as it's over and I get the house all secure and get my signs all down, I will get a hold of you. I will call you if that's what you prefer. I'll text you if that's what you prefer. And I'll let you know how the open house went today. Always call them that day or text them, whatever you've arranged with them. Okay. But I will also make sure you're going to have access to the property. So they've got to know. Okay, so here's where all of these resources are for you. So if you go to Weichert University, the first thing you're going to see is working with sellers. The second thing it's going to be working with buyers. Underneath that is the open house resources. In there, there's a checklist. There's that action plan that I told you about. There's an invitation template. There's something in there about showcasing your home. There's that dialogue, those scripts I told you about. There's door knocking dialogue. There's calling dialogue. There's an open house paper guest registry that you can print out and take if you want to have people sign it in that way. Okay. So check out those resources on Weichert University. Here's the checklist. So this is a checklist for you for planning for the perfect open house. Use this to stay on target. So do I have my personal branding? Do I have my display pieces? How are people going to register? Am I going to take an iPad and pull up the My Weichert Open House app and have them sign in right there? Let me tell you something about that Open House app, guys. It's an app on the App Store. It's called My Weichert Open House app. If you take a tablet and have them enter in that way, once you have Wi-Fi on that, they will feed into your CRM. So if they enter their information on that tablet, it's going to feed in as soon as you get Wi-Fi. It's going to feed into your CRM. Or you can have them sign in. You can do it that way as well. Do I know the neighborhood? This is really, really important, especially if I'm doing somebody else's open house and it's not my listing. Anytime I was doing anybody else's listing from my office, I was doing an open house, I would get with that agent that week and I would say, okay, tell me everything I need to know about this house. What's new? What's been updated? I would research the school information. I would go drive around and see what was around it. I would know the community stuff around it. They're going to ask you questions at this open house. You don't want to look like you don't have a clue. Even if it's not your listing, you can look like you know everything about this because you've done your homework and you know. What has sold lately in that neighborhood? What's active right now in that neighborhood? Another good thing is, do I know all the floor plans that are in there? Do they have a mix of 2 stories and ranches? What's the floor plans look like? What are the taxes in there? Right? Is there a homeowners association? You need to be the neighborhood expert. People will ask you questions and you will be embarrassed when you have to say, I don't know. Now, are you going to know everything? No. Is it okay for you to say, you know what? That's a great question. I don't have the answer. But if you want to leave your information with me, I will find that out and I will get a hold of you on Monday. That's okay. You're not expected to know everything. Some things you may not know, but do your homework and do your due diligence to know. So miscellaneous items. Bring a buyer consultation and a needs assessment with you. I always kept a bag chair in my trunk for vacant houses. 3 hours is a long time to stand in a vacant house. So I always would have a bag chair. Make sure you have the keys. Make sure you have a listing presentation with you, your personal laptop or your iPad. Bring that stuff with you. Music is nice. Music kind of sets the tone. Make sure you know if the people need to wear shoe covers. Do the sellers want people wearing shoe covers in their house? And this kind of goes back to the information I said to keep in your trunk. These are good things to have in your trunk. But this checklist will help you stay on target each time you do an open house. Now, what do you bring? Again, I would have the buyer presentation. I would have the getting to know you. I would have all of those presentations. I would have at least one copy with me. You never know when you might meet somebody at that open house and they say, when you get done here, I want you to come next door to my house. I want to talk about this listing. If you're prepared with paperwork, you can go right next door and do that. Have your iPad there. Have them sign in on the iPad. That makes the most sense and it's easy. You don't have a lot of paper and it goes right into your CRM. This is those water bottle labels I was telling you about. In my marketing studio, you can customize water bottle labels and put them right on your water bottles and they're branded to you. So when they walk out of there with a bottle of water, they've got your information in your picture. This takes planning ahead, but they're easy to do. This is a flyer in my marketing studio that you can make for the property before you come in there. It just is an overview. It's a property snapshot. Talks about the house and where are interest rates today. This is one example. You can bring in market stats. This is another thing in my marketing studio. You can have a flyer there with market stats in case anybody has any questions. Are we in a seller's market or a buyer's market? What's the median sell price right now? What's the median days on the market? People might ask you those things. You can have a flyer with a QR code that leads them right back to your website for more information or getting in touch with you. I always had these. I went to Staples or Office Depot. I don't remember which because that's been a minute. I had these clear, really nice clear displays that I would put flyers in. So they would stand up nicely. They stayed crisp. The color stayed good, and you could display them easily. I always had about 5 or 6 of those at all times, and I use those for open house displays. You want your display to look professional. This is another flyer. A formal consultation with me will save you money and time. You talk about your listing and your buyer consultation. This is something else that you can have sitting now. Find what works for you and what you like. And that's what I would go with every time I do one. You can have this flyer, ask me for an appointment, right? So they can read this, say what's the next step after previewing this home, and they can set up an appointment with you right there. So you should always have your calendar with you. So that's all in my marketing studio, guys. All of the things I just showed you are in my marketing studio. You can print them out in color right at your office. You can customize them right there. So how do I showcase a home? Remember it's the theater of it. You're trying to showcase this home to be the most amazing home they go in today. So turn on the lights, open curtains. Again, I like mood music, but if you don't play. I just think it kind of sets the tone. Dress appropriately. Make sure you look professional and you're always wearing your name tag. Those people are going to walk in the door and meet you for the first time, and they're going to judge you right then and there on what they think of you. Do they look professional? Do they come across professional? Do they introduce themselves and shake hands? They're going to look at you for all of these things. You've got to be the professional. Dress that way. And make sure you have all your marketing information to set up your display when you get there. Get mentally prepared. And that's what I said to you a minute ago. You're on stage at an open house. If I get up on Sunday morning, like I said a minute ago, I have been doing open houses for the last 16 Sundays. I don't want to be here. No one's going to show up. If that's where your mindset is, you're not going to have a good day. Get up and tell yourself, I have the opportunity. I've said it once already today in this class. I have the opportunity to capture some customers today and some clients. I have the opportunity to wow somebody. Post it on social media, like I told you. Do a Facebook Live. Ask your friends and family to share it. Ask the sellers to share it. Remember when I told you that when I first started, we weren't doing social media, it was the newspapers, but I was in the newspaper every single weekend, and people thought I was killing it. They didn't pay attention to the fact that for the first couple of months, they weren't my listings. I was doing them for other people. That didn't matter. They saw that I was out working. You posting all over your social media, all of this stuff where you're doing your new listings and your open houses, people think you are killing it. You're out working. Your social media is speaking for you behind the scenes. Make sure you're utilizing it. Again, your 8 signs with your balloons, a minimum of 30 minutes early. You need to be at the house. You do not want to walk in the door at 5 till and you've already got a line down the sidewalk and you've got to open the curtains and turn the lights on, set your display up. That does not look professional. Now, are there times when you might be running late? Maybe, but don't make a habit of that. Get your display all set up. Get your marketing materials out. Make it look professional. So when that first person walks in that door, you're standing there near the door with a smile on your face, ready to greet them, ready to go. You're not rushing around trying to get ready for the open house. It's very stressful when that happens. Now, there were Sundays when I would do 2 open houses and I didn't allow enough time. And trust me when I tell you that rushing to the next open house to get ready, it's stressful. And then when people are sitting there waiting on you, it's even more stressful. So schedule your open houses accordingly and make sure you have enough time to get there. Enthusiastically greet them. Again, you're making a first impression on these people. You want them to feel that you're nice and that you're knowledgeable and that you know what you're doing and you're happy to be spending your Sunday afternoon there. Thank them for coming. Nobody does that, but thank them for taking the time to stop by. Have a pen in your business cards and your guest register. What I used to always do is I would put a little feedback sheet. I went to the Dollar Tree and bought a bunch of those cheap wood clipboards, and I had some pens with my name on it, and I would put a feedback sheet on there, and I would ask them to give us some feedback for the sellers, and there was a place for their contact information. A lot of them did it because I wasn't sitting there pressuring them to do it. I just simply said, the sellers would love some feedback if you wouldn't mind filling this out. Here's a clipboard. You can bring it back to me at the end. That worked. Is it always going to work? No, but you got to find what works for you, right? Always have them sign in. Even if they don't, you ask every single person to sign in. The sellers would love to know who was home through their home today. If you want more information, go ahead and make sure I've got your contact information, and I'll get you more information later today or tomorrow. If you tell somebody you're going to follow up in the time frame that you told them you would. There's nothing that makes you look any worse than not following up when you say you're going to. Here's the My Weichert Open House app. So again, it's asking for their information. Asks if they're currently working with an agent. It's right there on the screen. So you're finding all of that out. Again, it will not load into your My Weichert until you have Wi-Fi. But once you connect to Wi-Fi, everybody that entered their information is going to load into your CRM for you. So you're capturing all of those leads. It's the best way to do it. So you're building relationships with these people. Okay? How are you doing that? Well, you don't need to walk around and say, this is the kitchen, and this is the bathroom, and this is the closet, and this is, let them roam through the house. You can stay close and answer any questions. Sometimes I would ask people, if people come in and were super chatty with me, I would say, would you like for me to give you the tour, or would you like to walk around by yourselves and come back and talk to me at the end? People would do both. Some people are uncomfortable with you walking and taking the tour with them. If you're taking the tour with them and you come to a room that's super small, don't go in there with them. That makes that room look even smaller because there's so many people in there. So stay out in the hall even if they want you to do that. But if they allow you to do a tour, it allows you to point out features of the home that maybe they would miss just walking through the house themselves, right? So that's a great way for you to kind of point some things out. But let them lead. Let them lead. Give them time to ask you questions. Ask them open-ended questions. The who, what, when, why, where. So where do you currently live? How soon do you want to move? Do you have a house that you want to sell? Ask open-ended questions that allow them to open up the conversation with you and talk to you. Okay? But talk to them. Don't let them come in the front door and you say, oh, great, thanks so much for coming to my open house. I want to be here if you have any questions. Come find me at the end when you're done. Have a great tour. And then don't talk. That's not going to be anything to build a relationship with them. Okay? But that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to build that relationship and get them to know you, like you, trust you. So how do we set up for success? We talked about videos already, and I gave you these stats and why we do them. I'm going to show you Christy's video in just a minute. But guys, ask every attendee if they're interested in making an offer. What's the worst thing they're going to say? No, we hate this house. No, we're just out looking. Okay, but if they say no, you have an opening to ask for an appointment. Say, that's great. If this house didn't work for you, I would love to find the house that would work for you. Right? But if you don't ask, the question's always going to be what? No. This is what you do. There's nothing wrong with you saying, hey, did you like this house? Are you wanting to make an offer? Say it to every single one of them. And get good at asking it and just get comfortable. Make detailed notes. If they start carrying on a conversation with you, make sure you have a way to take notes. Listen to what they're saying. But you can get appointments scheduled for later that day or even the next day, but you're not going to get those appointments if you don't ask. You've got to close for the open house, for the meeting at the open house. Your objective is to get the appointment. That's what you're trying to do. Get the appointment. So what do I do after the open house? Turn off the lights, clean up the mess, take out any trash, remove any items that you brought, restore the home to its original condition. Now, sometimes I would go into a house and the sellers had turned on all the lights and had everything ready. In that situation, I left the house like I found it. Or I would ask the sellers, would you like for me to turn off all the lights? You had them all on. Would you like for me to turn them on or leave them? Don't lock doors they didn't have locked, especially that one going from the garage to the house. If that's unlocked, do not lock it back. You may have sellers who can't get in their house when they get back. Okay? but just leave it better than you found it, and make sure the home is secure before you leave. So then you're taking your signs down. If there was a neighbor that lets you put a sign in their yard, go knock on the door and say, hey, I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me to put my sign up today. Call the listing agent if it's not you and give them a report. If you're holding an open house for somebody else, make sure you call the listing agent right away and let them know. If it's your listing, call your sellers right away and let them know what happened. And then put all your prospects in My Weichert immediately when you get home, because you want to make sure that you don't miss anybody or forget anybody. Okay. Every open house guest should receive a follow-up call no later than 24 hours after the open house. If they asked you for information, make sure you have that information. But again, remember the stat was 74% of them buy a house within 6 months and 70% have a house to sell. You don't want to miss following up with one of them. 6 months is not very long. If they have a house to sell, you better believe I'm following up, and any information they asked, I'm giving it to them. Okay. We have the script guideline for you to kind of give you some scripts if you need help with that. But it's consistent, full service is what you're trying to give. Okay. Consistent follow-up. You're a full service agent. This is what you do. Send an email. You can automatically send it or set them up on a smart campaign. But even if they don't return your phone call, make sure that you have a way to follow up. Okay. Here, I've showed you these before, but these are the My Weichert Quick Start videos. Each video has its own topic. So go into those Quick Start videos and look at like the landing page and squeeze page one. There's one in there about how to enter your contacts. There's one in there about doing a smart campaign. I think there's is there 11 or 14? I can't remember exactly how many are in there, but they're all about a half an hour. And Anthony walks you through every single step of any topic that you want. But those are a great place for you to learn how to utilize My Weichert. Okay. And I thought, Chrissy, I thought we put your video in here. Give me a second, guys. I thought for sure. It's Chrissy. It's not going to play. We embedded her video in this and it's not going to play. I'll find a way. If I can find a way to send you the video in the email, I'll send it. But Christy did an open house video recently that was amazing. And so I thought we had it embedded here to be able to show you, but it doesn't look like we're going to be able to.
Unless you want to share your screen, I could probably pull it up on mine.
Okay, let me pause my share. Let me stop share. And then does it give you an opportunity to share your screen now?
Yes. Let's try this one. You may have to, oops. Can you see it?
Yep, there you go.
Okay. I don't know where the volume's at.
Well, when she's walking through, there was music playing, wasn't there?
There was.
Yeah. But you can see her she's showcasing the house, she's showcasing her display. She's put tags up there. How many views did you get on this?
Gotten over 850 last time I looked.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and I can send you a link that has the actual.
Okay, that'd be great. And then I can attach it to the email when I send it out. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I can do that.
All right, if you'll stop sharing, I'm going to go back. But anyway, you guys, this is an amazing video that kind of shows you how to do it. Let me share my screen because you got to have get our homework up here. All right. Here is your homework for this session, okay? So it's to observe an open house this weekend, okay? I'm sorry, you got my granddaughter is crying in the background, guys. She's home today with a fever. So observe an open house this weekend or schedule to host one, whichever one you can do, okay? And then get open house signs ordered. Try to get them personalized. Or if your office provides them, then you've got them ready for you, okay? But start going to open houses. Even if you don't have a chance to observe somebody or watch one this weekend, find out who's holding them in your town and go check them out this weekend, okay? Because it's Friday, so we're ready for the weekend. So make sure you get really good at going out there and starting to watch how everybody in your office is doing. Oh, Christy put that in the chat. Thank you. Okay. All right, guys, let me stop sharing here. So you've got your homework assignments for the weekend. Any questions about marketing the property or open houses? No questions. All right. Well, again, no class on Monday for those of you who come in late. We'll see you on Wednesday and Friday of next week. And I'm going to ask you guys next week about your experience with an open house. So if you don't host one or mentor one, I'm going to expect you to go check some out this weekend. For those of you who are in areas that are not snowed in, okay? If you're snowed in, you get a pass. If you're somewhere with good weather, then I expect you to go check out an open house this weekend, all right? So everybody have a great, great weekend. Thank you for being on today. You're getting off about 10 minutes early. Start your Fridays a little bit earlier, and we will see you all next week. Bye.
Thank you, Shauna.
You're welcome.
Thank you.